Hey, what's going on everyone? JSTCG here, coming at you with something a little bit different. So, a big thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh community is to create like custom cards for your favorite archetype, or people just like to create their own cards. And I personally don't really do that. I don't know, it's just not something I really have done. And of course there's cards that I'd like to see made or archetypes to get support, and one of my favorite cards of all time is Horus the Black Flame Dragon and the Armed Dragons. Dark Armed Dragon and Horus are like my two favorite cards. So recently, well, you know, like within the last year or so, Armed Dragons got a reboot, a retrain, and we have the Thunder Armed Dragons, which are really cool, and they made Armed Dragons kind of playable. It's a fun, like, rogue deck. You can do an armed Dragon Link build or something, or armed Dragon Maids. So I thought it'd be cool, and I've been wishing for a long time that Horus would get either support or a retrain similar to like the Armed Thunder Dragons. So I created 5 Horus cards that could benefit the deck, maybe make the deck a little bit more playable, or just make me happy. I might be the only person that wants to see Horus support, but here we are. And we'll go over the cards that I created. I have 3 monsters, a spell, and a trap. And Horus is all about like stopping spell effects. So some of these effects are based on like not playing spells, which could hurt a lot of decks. And you know, Anti-Spell Fragrance is a card that people are playing a lot now in their side decks. And so yeah, these are Horus cards. I feel like they aren't super overpowered. I tried to keep it balanced. The other thing is, I kind of tapped into my childhood when creating these effects of these cards because, well, growing up, like, I remember getting an ultra rare Horus level 8 out of a pack and freaking out because I don't even know how old I was at the time, but pretty young, and I thought it was the coolest card ever. And I already had like a dragon deck that was like, if I played Blue Eyes and Red Eyes, it was Brick City basically. And I remember being like, oh, Horus is a dragon, I can add it into my deck and it's awesome. The whole deck was like janky, you know, of course it was. It was just like all my favorite cards thrown into a deck. Brick City, like I said, no real strategy except summon big dragon. So actually some of these effects are basically summon big dragon and attack. So here we are. First card I have here, by the way, I apologize, I went to like a Yu-Gi-Oh card creator site where you can type in your own text and everything. As for the artwork, I just googled dragon pictures off of Google Images. Sorry, I don't have credit for where these came from. My bad. If I continue to do this series and create cards or, you know, design cards, I'll make sure to credit the artists or where I got this, but this was all just Google Images basically. I wasn't sure what I was doing and I didn't really plan on making a video on it, but here we are. So we have Horus the Black Flame Omega Dragon. Again, I'm really bad at names and I'm bad at creating card effects, so bear with me. But it's a level 8 dragon effect, fire monster. All right, so 3200 attack, 2300 defense. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned by banishing 2 level 8 Horus monsters from your graveyard. You can target up to 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field and destroy them. Your opponent takes 500 damage for each card sent to the graveyard this way. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can then add 1 spell or trap card that specifically lists Horus in its text to your hand. So a couple things with this one. 2 level 8s sounds like a lot, but I also wanted to incorporate Dark Horus into the deck. So if you play 3 level 8s and then maybe 2 or 3 copies of Dark Horus, which is also level 8, you could use like Foolish Burial or something to get one into the graveyard, and then you can bring out this guy and then burn your opponent. So this card could be good in time. You can destroy 2 cards your opponent has. This itself is a level 8, so there's other, you know, this is a new Horus monster. So I feel like there's enough Horus monsters that are level 8, where you could get them into the graveyard without running out of Horus names. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought this would be a really cool card. Horus the Black Flame Omega Dragon is our first new Horus boss monster, but then we have another really cool one, I think. Horus, the Ruler of Black Flames. So, this is another level 8 Dragon Fire monster. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned by banishing 2 Horus monsters on your side of the field or the graveyard. And then once per turn, when you activate a spell or trap card, you can destroy 1 card on the field. This monster has 3000 attack and 2000 defense. Basically, with these new level 8 Horus monsters I came up with, they're basically gonna scorch the field, right? With their firepower. You're gonna summon them out by tributing or removing from play your smaller Horuses or your other level 8s that you already went through, and then you can bring out either this one or the Omega Dragon. You can destroy like 2 cards. This guy lets you destroy 1. The one guy burns your opponent, so you have that fire burn damage. This card's gonna blow up a card on the field, and they got 3000 attacks. So it's kind of like the Blue Eyes deck, you know, like the Blue Eyes deck isn't like super competitive, but it's really fun to play, and you just summon out these dragons with like 3000 attack and pop some stuff and swing for game. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with this deck, is go back to old school Yu-Gi-Oh! People that just like Horus or like big dragons and they don't want to do a 15-minute combo, they just want to summon out big dragons and win. These could maybe do that. So yeah, this is Horus, the Ruler of Black Flames. Oh man, now after going through these again, I just really wish Konami would print something like this. Then we have Black Flame Hunter, which is kind of like the Searcher for the deck. It's a level 4, 1800 attack monster, so and it's a Dragon Fire monster, so you know, we have some normal summons here. It's a good level 4. Maybe we could overlay into stuff because there is Horus level 4 as well. But this card, simple effect, it's the Searcher. When this card is normal or special summoned, add 1 Horus monster from your deck to your hand. You could get any Horus monster. Maybe that's a little broken. Maybe I should say like level 4 or level 6, and then, you know, we have to work a little bit. But for as OP as Yu-Gi-Oh! Is right now, and some of the cards out there in this game, I feel like adding any Horus monster is good, because like I said, this deck isn't based on comboing or anything like that. Like, we just want to summon out our big dragons. So if we can do that soon and quick with this card being able to search any Horus monster, then I think we should be able to. But that's just me. Then we have the spell card of the deck. This is probably the most broken spell card, and I feel like I should reword it a little bit, but let's talk about it. So we have Orb of Black Flames. It's a continuous spell card. Now, you know, Horus is all about not activating spells, like I said, or being able to negate spells, but I thought it would be interesting if Horus had its own spell card that kind of hurts you and your opponent. So this card says, if you control a Horus monster, you and your opponent cannot play or set any spell or trap cards. So this card sits on the field, that's it. Now, if a Horus monster you control, though, is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, this card gets destroyed. So I feel like it could be pretty easy for your opponent to pop one of your Horuses, and then this card just goes bye-bye. But if they can't, it's going to hurt kind of you and them, because you're going to... Basically, this turns into a dragon beatdown deck. Again, kind of going back to my childhood, where that's all I wanted to do. Summon dragons and attack and overpower my opponent that way. Anti-spell fragrance exists right now, which kind of turns off spell cards, but it's not as broken as this card. But at the same time, I wanted it to hurt you and your opponent, because you might have some spell cards in your hand, maybe like a Called by the Grave, and you can't use it. Or maybe you have infinite impermanence and you can't use it yourself. So you're kind of relying on the power of your dragons. But at the same time, then, if your opponent does pop one of your dragons, this card goes away, and then you have access to those spells. But let me know what you think of the spell card. Maybe we can do some rewording on it, make it a little bit better. I feel like this might be a little OP, but like I said, I'm bad with coming up with design and text for cards. It might be fun to make this into a series, or maybe take some of your comments below on like cards that you would like to see printed, and we could make them and talk about them in a video. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It'd be fun to go through your comments and see if you could create an archetype or add to an existing archetype. How would you go about it? Let me know. Maybe we could make this into a video series if this does well. And then we have a trap card for the deck. This card here is the Inferno of Horus. It's a counter trap, which I thought was an interesting way to go about it. But this card says, negate the activation of one of your opponent's spell or trap cards, and if you do, add one Horus monster from your deck to your hand. Your opponent can discard a spell card to negate this card. So basically my thought process along this was, well, again, Horus is about stopping spells primarily, but I wanted some of the support to also just generalize Horus into stopping back row. So I said, okay, well, how about we be able to negate a spell or a trap? And if you do, we get rewarded by being able to search out something. However, your opponent has to discard a spell if they want to negate this. So it hurts them because they might have a spell that they're waiting to use, or it's just one less card in their hand for them to use as discard fodder or something. So maybe they have to discard, I don't know, a Foolish Burial or a Pot of Desires that they might be holding on to. And if it is an important spell, like maybe they need that Foolish to get something into the grave, or maybe they have a Called by the Grave, do they let you negate one of their spells and traps that they're trying to activate, or do they discard that to stop it? They have to kind of make a decision on what's more important at the time, which I thought was kind of interesting. It could totally change the outcome of the game if they just let this card go through, or if they discard a spell that they might need in the next turn or two, or maybe for whatever reason they didn't activate it yet. I don't know. I thought it would put your opponent in a very interesting spot. So I thought it'd be cool if Horus had its own trap card. So I came up with this, the Inferno of Horus, which, I don't know. I like the idea of Horus becoming like a anti-back row deck. Like, stop your opponent's spells and traps, summon out the big dragons, and attack. Just so you know how committed I am to Horus, I tweeted every day for like 600 days waiting for Konami to make Horus support. And then I saw some rumors or issues with Twitter, like if you posted almost the exact same tweet so many amount of times, Twitter would think you're a bot and then it would delete your account or delete your tweets. So I stopped doing that format. But inside, in my heart, every day, I still hope Konami makes Horus support. So if this video does well, or if someone who knows someone at Konami can put in a good word for your boy, I'd love to see Horus cards made. Do a retrain, do something. Hit me up if you guys want to talk about these. You can use these effects if you want. Do something, I beg of you. Like I said, Dark Arm Dragon and Horus are my two favorite dragon monsters, so I thought, well, Arm Dragon's already got a retrain, although Dark Arm Dragon isn't really a part of that. But I said, okay, well, if that type of level monster, the Arm Dragon level monsters, can get a retrain, why can't the Horus level monsters? So here we are. Horus, I hope you get support in the future. Everyone that watched this video and made it this far, thank you so much. Something a little bit different, something fun. I actually thought this was really fun, and I understand now why people like to create and theorize their own cards and their own archetypes and stuff like that. So, like I said, we could maybe make this into a series. If you guys have an archetype you want me to create new cards for, let me know. If you have your own ideas down in the comments below, let me know and we can read those in a video and I'll talk about them. I'm not really sure what we could do, but it could be fun to make this into a little series. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more. And also stay tuned for more Yu-Gi-Oh! News, deck profiles, opening videos, pretty much anything Yu-Gi-Oh! Related I like to talk about and make videos on if it interests me. And yeah, anyways, I hope you guys take care, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out and have a good one.